Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast. And today I am so excited for you to meet Kelsy Mack from Sik Braids. She's located in Western New York, but not only does she do amazing, beautiful braids and adds hair tinsel and all sorts of fun things to festivals and events and networking things, but she's also a mom, she's a business owner, and she has ADHD. And I'm so excited for her to share, because I think as women and moms, sometimes we chalk it up to so many other things. And I think just being able to hear how she manages, how she's kind of figured a lot of this out, you're going to find her story so inspirational, just like I have. So thank you so much, Kelsy, for being here with me today.
Yeah, I'm always excited to chat with you.
So I know that was a very super brief intro of all the things you do. I see you everywhere, like you work so much, but can you share a little bit about how you got into this? What sparked your interest in doing braids and turning it into the amazing business that it's become?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background actually was in the technology field. So I was actually a teacher, a trainer, and I did that for 10 years working for one of the biggest companies in the world, Apple. And during the pandemic, actually, it was very hard for me to be able to work for them. When we came back in stores, everyone was wearing masks, and I rely on lip reading to be able to basically navigate a conversation. So that kind of started me on the path to start to explore other means of work. And one of them was actually becoming a trainer for another company that was doing braids. And so for me, that kind of started this spark of, braiding as a business, very interesting, right?
Right.
But my root of braiding really comes down to my daughter. So I learned to braid, not as like a teenager or a kid. I actually didn't know how to braid when I was younger. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I wanted to learn how to braid. So I wanted to be able to braid her hair. And because I have rainbow hair myself, it changes every couple of months what color it is.
And it's always beautiful.
Yes. I knew my daughter would eventually want to probably have hair like mine. But I wasn't going to let her at a young age do that. So I saw all these braids online that were colorful where you added in hair to it. So I decided I was going to learn that as my first braid, which is an absolutely insane thing in a braider's world. Like, that is not the beginner step. That is like an advanced step. And to add to it, I learned it on my own head.
Oh my gosh.
But mastering that really started kind of this spark and passion for just being creative with braids. I love learning any sort of new technique that I can do with my hands, whether it be crocheting or musical instruments or things like that. And with braids, it just seemed that there was always more ways to do them, and always a new thing to learn. So that curiosity kind of spread, and all this joy that I was seeing doing people's hair. I really wanted to make sure that I could be doing this in a way that felt like it was representing myself, felt like it was the type of people that I connected with. And for me, that was really other parents and their kids, right? I wanted to see all these little children smile from ear to ear when they see their magical rainbow hair with sparkles in it. But also, there's this big community of people who go to festivals, and they're the most wonderful people. They're just so giving and caring towards each other. And again, they love to look like magical unicorns, but they're adults. So, really finding that community and reaching out to them, those two were the thing that sparked me to kind of break off and start my own company and really focus on finding my tribe, my people that really fit for me.
No, and I mean, you do business networking events. You see people who come, in suits, but sit down and get a little sparkle, get a little braid. And I love that it brings out the magic in the kids in all of us. I think there's something almost like meditative and therapeutic as you're sitting there, probably not only for you doing the braiding, but for the person getting their hair done. I know I love just getting my hair washed is my favorite part of, going to the salon and things like that. And so I'm sure you create that experience for people. You create that connection through touch, and you probably just hear a lot of great stories as well.
Yeah. And it's also, there's, even in the groups you talked about, sometimes it's about helping people go just a little outside of their comfort zone and try something new that they're maybe afraid of. But then they end up falling in love with it. Like we see that with hair tinsel all the time. People are going, oh, well, I don't have colorful hair like you, so I don't think I can pull that off. And the moment they get a couple of pieces in there, they go, oh my gosh, wow. And they get excited. I can't tell you how much I love hearing when people are like, I get compliments in the supermarket. I'm like, yeah, you do. Absolutely. Who doesn't want to get a compliment on their hair every day? I mean, it feels nice to have someone say, wow, that looks so pretty. Right. So to bring that to people and to encourage them to try something different is something that I always cherish about my job.
No, you're definitely helping to lift other women up when you're doing this, because like you said, it's something they might not have normally tried, but the fact that then it, emulates to the people who see it, the people that they're around, that confidence, which I always think is such a big part of our self-care. It creates that confidence. It makes you feel good about yourself. It helps you show up different, which is why I love this, because you bring the sparkle, you bring the magic to whatever event you show up at. Like I said, there's no one type of event. I think I could probably find a grocery store and put you in there and you would still have a line out the door, because who doesn't want just to tap into that little bit of just magic?
Absolutely. And that's a big part of what we do too. And a foundation for me is I started going to women's networking groups, looking for companionship from other women business owners. And really what I found was the ability to collaborate being so big in my business, because really it is a way to come into a space and just bring them something new, bring them something different. And that's also something that I think for me is something that keeps me going, is being able to have these connections with other women business owners in the community.
Yeah. And you are so much more, than just the braids. Through your collaborations, you help teach different types of technology. You help coordinate different things, as well as, like I mentioned in the beginning intro, as someone with ADHD, I think a lot of times we just assume I can't focus or I've got too much on my plate. But you've really helped me, and I think so many other women, when you've spoken about it, understand there's more to it, and being able to accept and acknowledge and recognize those things as part of who you are and part of your strengths is really powerful. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think it's super important to recognize when you're in, especially business spaces, right? There's a lot of dialogue on, how to stay organized, right? How to kind of, I guess I'll say, do things the right way. When you're coming in those spaces, you listen to what everyone else is saying and you listen to that advice. And it can be very easy to jump into that advice and get down on yourself, right? If it doesn't work for you. So what I was really happy to kind of understand is, once I was diagnosed with ADHD and was able to, have a deeper understanding of that, right? And know how that impacts me directly, it meant that I could get into a better place of acceptance of certain methods will not work for how my brain works, right? So one of the biggest ones for me is the flexibility of what a day-to-day can look like. So when people talk about the importance of like having your everyday schedule, having everything mapped out. For me, yes, a schedule can be great. It can be something that can be a basic foundation, but ultimately I have to be graceful for myself when I am not able to follow a schedule, right? When I am having a certain day that I am not able to, function, right? So there are days where I'm going to be super hyper focused, and there will be days where I'm going to get on the couch and I'm not going to be able to get up for 3 hours. And knowing that those 3 hours that I can't get up, I'm not going to punish myself for, I'm not going to feel guilty about. I'm just going to be aware of that's what my body needs at that moment or what it's capable of is huge. And also being able to tell when my body is being really productive, right? When I am almost like hyper focused and utilizing those times to balance that out. That was a big find for me of having that acceptance with myself, that it's not going to be the same methods for me that it may be for others. Yeah.
And I love that you shared that, because I think there are so many women who are probably listening who we do beat them ourselves up for not being productive, not getting all the things done, not being able to time manage and follow a schedule, a quote certain way, the way everybody else is, and that type of thing. And instead of seeing it from a negative, kind of reframing in that mindset, which I'm sure definitely took some time and a lot of work and things like that. But the power in accepting it and flowing with it as opposed to fighting against it has probably just been massive.
Absolutely. It really is. And it, again, is a moment that I'm having with myself, being able to appreciate, right? Like in how I just described it to you, it's not, oh, I have these, negative qualities now that I have ADHD and I am aware of it. It's, well, I have times where, it's not great at that time, but I have times where it's incredible. And I do really give some of those incredible business skills. I attest it to my ADHD, right? Like my hyper focus and my ability to think in my mind way faster than a normal person when my brain is really on. It really allows me to create things in a very fast way. It allows me to identify things in a bigger picture way as well. I always like to say when I'm thinking probably 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of someone. So sometimes even in a conversation, people be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, let me go back and explain. I'm sorry. My brain was
weren't in my head, were you?
Fast,
right.
But that speed can be such a benefit, right? So you always have to balance that out with going, there are benefits to this. There are really great strengths to this. And it's not just, oh, I have to overcome my ADHD. You don't have to overcome your ADHD. You just have to understand it and accept the moments that maybe might make you frustrated, maybe might make you not feel as great. But an important part of that is also recognizing the positives behind it, recognizing what an advantage it also gives to you.
Right. Because if you don't, I don't think anybody else will. And
No.
the people in your life need to be able to embrace it and accept it the same way you do. And if you are rejecting it and negative about it, that's how everyone else is going to see it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to own that. And again, be open about it with people. The more people I'm open about my ADHD with, the more people they're like, oh, maybe I have ADHD. Maybe.
No, when you've listed some of this stuff, I think about it. I'm like, maybe I could. Maybe.
Right. So it's more people, I think, especially as adults now, there are so many more resources, and specifically women. Girls were not diagnosed with ADHD when I was going through school. It was very uncommon because everything they used to diagnose it was based off of a lot of things you see in ADHD for boys or men. And there's just so much more information out there now that people who even got tested when they were younger may have been, that might not have been something that they would have seen. So I definitely encourage people to, go and get tested, get diagnosed, and see if, that might be something that could help them, because
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to either cope. I personally, I will say, I don't use medication. I know a lot of people are scared that like, oh, they're going to put me on medication. They're not going to force you into anything. They're going to show you options in different ways. And for me personally, I want to go through and actually try to use methods before medication for myself. And that's worked well for me. So I would encourage people to not be afraid of what a diagnosis could mean or could do.
Right.
Definitely go in there and seek that if you're finding that you're struggling in those same ways.
Yeah, I think we need to be comfortable having conversations with our doctors, not being afraid to ask for certain tests, to explore certain things. I almost kind of, as you're speaking about it, think about the difference between a man's heart attack symptoms and a women's heart attack symptoms. And women get so underdiagnosed. Our symptoms get missed because it's not the massive clutching your chest kind of things. It's more subtle. And unfortunately, we're dying from heart attacks more often because we're missing those signs. And so is the medical community. So I love the fact that you're advocating for having the conversations, talking about it, asking for it, and finding out, that you're not just overwhelmed all the time. Sometimes there's something else going on that you really could get some answers for.
Absolutely. And I will say there's quite a big online community for this right now as well. One space I find that, you can find quite a bit to maybe start that discovery of what does it look like to have ADHD is actually TikTok. TikTok has a really huge ADHD community, particularly women, and they love talking about just regular day scenarios of what they experience. And I'm finding more and more discussions that I'm having with people is they have, listened to some of these videos or things and gone, maybe I do need to talk to my doctor. So I encourage you, even if you've never been on TikTok, I promise you there's a side that's not dancing and craziness. If you just typed in ADHD at the top of the search there, you're going to find a lot of really helpful videos that, don't take them as a diagnosis first and foremost. I would like putting
none of
that
this
out
is
there.
Medical advice. This is
None
all
of this
just
is medical advice.
Yes.
But it is something that can peak going, okay, this is a key indicator that maybe I should start a conversation with my doctor, right? And instead of getting into that space where as women, we tend to almost beat ourselves up, right? We tend to take any fault we may have as our fault, right? Like I don't have the patience with my kids that I want to have. Maybe I have more of an emotional reaction than I would like, right? And that automatically in my brain goes, I'm a bad mom. That comes down to me, right?
Yeah.
Those
that
sort
guilt.
of, the guilt moment. It could be that, I, again, like I said before, I would just have these days where I would sit on the couch or like knew I was supposed to do stuff, right? Like I had to clean, I needed to get this thing done and I just couldn't. And all I could think of while I was sitting there was, oh my gosh, I need to get this done. I'm so lazy. Why am I sitting here? Right. And I couldn't get myself off that couch. And I would just feel so bad about those moments and realizing that's an actual like part of my ADHD is sometimes it gets to the point of executive dysfunction and I can't function in those moments. And that's okay, right? That's my body kind of shutting down, whether it be overwhelmed or something like that. But prior to that diagnosis, it was definitely me being very hard on myself, thinking it was just, I'm not doing well enough. I need to be more organized. I need to get a better system. I need to eat better.
You don't need another new planner, right?
I could be better. I could do this. Versus realizing that's just part of me and that's okay. It's our right to, again, not be this perfect identity that you see typically portrayed, say, online or on a TV or things like that.
Yeah. And, like I can't stress enough what a process I'm sure it has been in a practice to learn these things. It doesn't come overnight, but I just love how you just share the honesty of this is where you were, this is how you felt, the things you said, and this is where you are now. So it's absolutely possible to make those transitions, to change your mindset with or without a diagnosis too, as far as giving yourself that grace, giving yourself, that space you need to listen to what you your body's looking for and kind of go from there. What are some other things that you do to kind of take care of yourself? What's some of your self-care that kind of works best, not only with your business, but with your diagnosis, with your family, and all of those types of things?
I would say, so I do think in this space as well, it's probably a little different than what most people would probably say, but some of my biggest things of taking care of myself is, again, all around that factor of like what you'd normally feel guilty for and allowing that to just fade away. So for me, that looks like when I get home from a long day of work, I'm going to indulge in whatever special treat I want, whatever thing there. Another big thing for me is taking time to myself to step away when I am feeling overwhelmed. So it's very common for me to get kind of overfilled with emotions, and especially with my kids. That means the permission to kind of step away, put myself in a room, allow myself space away from them for a moment until I can collect my own emotions, right? And before I felt like I couldn't step away. So that is, I feel like one of my biggest things to take care of myself is giving myself the permission to step away.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's a gift for them, and I think we don't appreciate that part of it as well.
Yes, definitely. And then I would say the other big thing for me in previous relationships that I was in, I'm a go-getter. I am a person who wants to put in 120% into any job I'm in, anything. So you imagine owning your own business, that's going to go even further. So for me, that also means allowing my partner to take on responsibilities that traditionally would have been seen as a woman's role, right? And saying it is okay for me to be the one who is out of the house more, who is networking more, doing all these other things. And my partner is going to be at home taking care of the kids. And I'm going to not feel guilt about that, because a lot of positivity and energy for me comes from my work. So if I am not working, if I am not out and about meeting new people, meeting new faces, it will take a toll on me personally. So allowing myself to be in that space and having people help that are around me is huge, or letting them fall into roles that I would have normally taken on my own shoulders and kind of taking that load off.
Yeah. And that can be so hard. It's on one hand, we say we want people to step up and help more often, but then on the other hand, we can struggle with letting go of that because we want it either done a certain way, or we feel like, well, then people are going to think we're not capable. Like we make up so many stories about, it's a catch-22. It's like we want it, but then we're afraid of it. And so the fact that you have kind of stepped into it and embraced it is fantastic. I love all the things that you're doing to take care of yourself and your family through your self-care, because the benefits they get, the best version of Kelsy and everything else in the process.
Absolutely.
And another part of self-care that I always love to ask my guests about is gratitude, because I think it gets overlooked as a part of our self-care. And so what would be like 1 to 2 things that you would say you're the most grateful for?
I am grateful, especially right now, to be in a job, in a space where I can be authentically myself. I've always felt the need to fit into a specific mold. Funny enough, masking is something that's pretty common with ADHD, right? Trying to match the people that are around you. And I feel like right now I'm at the, probably for the first time in my life, the most authentic, the most just genuinely myself that I have ever been. And the fact that I don't feel I need to compromise like who I feel like I am for anyone, whether it be business related, friendship wise, that I am very, very grateful to be in a space where I can be myself, be accepted, and feel great about that. So I'm super thankful for that, and super grateful for that. And I would say the other thing that I am really grateful for are the people that I have been able to surround myself with, and particularly our relationship. So obviously I have an incredible partner. He is really a yin to my yang, like he is perfect opposite of me, but in many ways we are the same. And then within my business, I have absolutely found the people that get me, right?
Right.
So never does it, pass me up how grateful I am for those people around me and the connection that we have. And those are the things that definitely keep me kind of getting up every day, feeling excited about whether it be looking next to me and seeing him, waking up, seeing my kiddos, right? Or being able to, go do an event and have these incredible people surrounding me and working with me that I don't have to, again, have a negative thought about. I haven't had that in previous jobs or spaces. There's always been kind of underlying issues of,
Right.
they like me or oh, this thing they do is frustrating for me. And I don't feel that. I just feel kind of that love for those people around me.
I love that. That's beautiful. So where can people find you? How can they either connect with Sik Braids, or I don't know, just follow you on Instagram just to see some of the amazing braids that you do and all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, Sik Braids, we're on all the main social medias. I will say my favorite social media to see our work on is Instagram. I think it really shows a whole gallery of our braids in a beautiful way. And it's just Sik Braids on there. So SIK, take out that C, sick like as in cool. And then same on Facebook, same name, or sikbraids.com. So on sikbraids.com, that's where you'll be able to see if we have openings for appointments. So we come right to your house, which is pretty incredible. So whether it be a wedding or, I just want to have nice hair for this week, we do all of that. And
Birthdays
then
probably, and
birthday
festivals.
parties. Oh my goodness. I have 3 kids' birthday parties this weekend. I'm so excited. We love being a part of those special moments. And then you can also see our upcoming events on our website. So it'll tell you where we are around Buffalo, Western New York area. And for a lot of those, you can even pre-book an appointment to those, and you get a little discount on the braid costs rather than us coming to your house. But my favorite part of that is that you get to see different businesses within Buffalo when you come to those events, whether they be specialty events or just a store that has us there for, their anniversary. So that's a really great place to just see where we're at, what we're doing. And yeah, any info is really going to be in any of those spaces. And honestly, if you do reach out, whether it be through email or through the website, you're going to be talking directly to me. This is still such a small company. I see every message that comes through. So that's kind of a cool thing too, is you're going to talk to me directly. And I love hearing and talking to my clients. So
no, I love that. That's great. And all those links will be live in the show notes below. So thank you so much, Kelsy, for joining me today and just sharing your story. I can't thank you enough for all of it.
Absolutely. I loved talking with you, and thanks for having me.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.